So then, following the Planning Commission meeting, the final couple steps would be the publication of the notice of public hearing in the city paper on July 14th, and then the public hearing on July 26th, and then if the district were to be approved, there would be a request for county certification and filing with the state. So those are the administrative steps. Between now and the completion of those steps, there is some significant additional analysis that we will be preparing. You have in front of you guys a copy of a memo that we prepared as part of the Gethsemane project, and I sent that along with Chuck as an example of some of the analysis that we performed in that district. And this document, or this additional analysis, will detail the results of the but-for analysis that will analyze the development's need for financing and determine if the project would not likely proceed but for the assistance. There will also be drafting of the TIF plan and then finalization and preparation of the TIF revenue projections. And then also analysis of the funding options and the preparation of possible bond structures and debt service schedules. So really, we're still working towards finalizing all the analysis related to this. It's all still conceptual at this moment, but most importantly is that we'll be bringing all this information back in front of you as it's completed. That will be the results of the but-for analysis, and then draft versions of the TIF plan will all be brought back in front of the City Council to provide additional opportunity for input and review prior to the public hearing. And that is it. So any questions at this point?
Mr. Nephew.
In doing the but-for analysis and the other preparatory analysis, do you only look at the scenario that's requested by the developer, for instance, where they're looking for the 1.2 million in assessments for the public improvements and also additional money to assist with site acquisition, et cetera? Or is it possible to have different scenarios? For example, one case where they would have, the whole enchilada that they're asking for. Another case where the TIF district might only deal with, let's say, the public improvements and not the additional funding that they're looking for, but it would mean that the public improvements would all be recouped through TIF.
Yeah, what we look at in the but-for analysis is there's kind of two parts to the question. If you're talking about the scope of the development, which I don't believe you are, but you look at an apples-to-apples version. You look at 102 units versus with TIF and 102 units without TIF. We can't really say if they built a 100-unit deal that needs TIF, but we don't know. You can't compare that to a 200-unit development. So we can't compare two different sizes of scope of development. But in the instance that I think you're asking about, which is the level of assistance requested, and that we do analyze. So we do look at the development as they proposed it, the scope and size that they've proposed. And we both look at the requested amount of tax increment that they've asked for, and then we also sensitize that. We look at what is the return with it, what is it without it, and then we scale it back. What's a reasonable return? Is it less than what they're asking for? Could they potentially get by with a lower amount of TIF? And we do scale it down to determine if lower amounts of TIF can be provided and still likely have the development occur. So yes, we do analyze the level and amount of the assistance.
So in effect, that would put us in a position where we could sort of make a counter offer to what their original request is if we feel that it goes too far relative to what we think is appropriate. Exactly.
It's there's a definite process there. Once you get the analysis and once you kind of get a feedback and an understanding for the deal, that you can. There's definitely an area for negotiation there.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
None at the moment, apparently. And so the item that's before us tonight is simply to be calling for a resolution which would then set up a public hearing at some future date. Correct?
And that date currently is July 26th, Mr. Mayor, Council. But as Tom said, it really does get us going in the process. We start making notifications, really in earnest. We'll make the analysis, start speaking with the developer, establishing the terms. You will get a draft plan, look at that, review the information. A lot of financial analysis will occur. But this really is the start of the process.
Okay.